everybody, and happy Tuesday. Happy, cool, kind of rainy Tuesday up in northern New Jersey, where I am today, and I am in my lovely hotel studio with not only a beautiful guest, a treasured friend, who is an angel whisperer, and I'm going to introduce her in a moment, but I have to give you some directions about if you need to reach me for the next couple of weeks. I am in New Jersey, reachable by email. You can use, for those of you who have my personal email, go for it. If you want to reach me at my Purple Portal 777 at gmail.com. That's all yours. Or if you want to actually reach me up in New Jersey on my cell phone. Now, why would you want to reach me in New Jersey? It would mean you are in New Jersey and you either want a feng shui private consultation for your home, or you want a personal consultation, which means I could either go to your home or you could come to the hotel, or you want to come try my magical new beamer, which I must tell you, I'm about beamed out. I've beamed so many people in New Jersey. I think half of the Northeast Corridor has been beamed. And it is a lot of, it's interesting. It's been fascinating to watch people's resistance to it and their reactions to it and their buddying up to it. So, so you got some numbers here. So that number is 321-210-6582. I'm going to speak it again. That's how you reach me, either text or phone up here. 321-210-6582. So, and I won't be back in South Jersey. My precious Jeff has to put up with me remotely for probably a couple more weeks after this. The reason being, I used to work up in this Northeast Territory, and there was a lot to do then. I don't know whether it's because you stick your finger out of the dike and the water starts pouring forth again, but it seems to me there's a whole lot to do up here. A lot of people have become physically sick, emotionally sick, kind of even spiritually out of balance. So as an empath, I find that very challenging to watch. And I know I give myself the talk. It's not mine to help or fix or change or even heal, because we each have to participate in our own healing. And interestingly, I have a pretty little room at this hotel which has it's like a little suite, right? So I have a little sitting area as well as the bedroom. And day one of my customers from when I had my stores up here came in with a very oversized, lovely fabric box saying, "Oh, I think you should have this, and I think I bought this at the Purple Pear." And I thought, oh, no, she didn't. It's too big. I didn't have anything that big. And I opened it, and what is it but a beautiful Kuan Yin that indeed still had my handwritten who Kuan Yin is. And she is the goddess of mercy, compassion, and protection. So Kuan Yin has been anointing this lovely hotel room really almost since I arrived. What's interesting to me about it, any of the great goddess or god energy, they're not going to step in necessarily and heal you, but they will hold the lantern for you to heal yourself. So someone like myself steps in with mercy, compassion, and sometimes protection. But what I have now seen on this trip is oftentimes you're not open to the protection, which is really astounding to me. So, there are many new healing modalities that are going to be available, finally, in the United States. some of you who listen to this show that are either well-traveled or from other portions of the world, you have been afforded healing modalities far before we have been. And now, as I've stepped into this elevated healing modality of the beamer energy, I've already heard, friends in that saying, oh, and there's more, and there's more, and there's more. And I guess my prayer is for all of you that could be open to the suggestion of there's light for you here. There is a light in the tunnel. But I don't even know how to explain it, because I'm trying to stay out of that word sorrow, but I see people with their eyes squinted shut and their hands over their ears, and nope, I don't want to hear about it. And I'm like, why not? Someone like myself, I am a generous, open heart. So I've come up here with a tool for basically there's no money involved. But sit on it, try it. Nope, can't do it. Like, okay. Now what I've understood is, and I'm working more and more diligently on this, I understand that we're all at a different frequency. And I understand these healing modalities are an extraordinarily high frequency. Therefore, they are not for everyone. Matter of fact, I could equate it to when people would come into my stores that were up in the Northeast, and they would want, I'd have a whole wide selection of crystals. Some crystals don't resonate to another person. It's just that simple. Some of you, let's say you're an athlete, you resonate to horseback riding but not swimming. So it's all about what we resonate to. And that's all well and good. My further dilemma is, though, you're in hot water, you're in trouble. Your infrastructures are fragile and vulnerable. So I can only hold the light and say, there are tools for you. You may have to explore what is your tool. And P.S., no one should force a tool down your throat, because I surely wouldn't like that. So, it's kind of humorous. I'll share a little story. I was asked immediately, before my suitcase was even down in the hotel, if I would go take a look at someone's home that they've had a great deal of difficulty selling. And it's a brand new home, and it's a lovely $2 million home. So we're not talking a rundown dog here. We're talking something beautiful. And they left me the key to go in and check it out and, move a few things around. There's not much in it. It's not staged or anything, but move the energy and et cetera, et cetera. So I did, and I went in and I sat there, and at first I felt sort of the sadness in the house and talked to the house and told it, you're beautiful, there's a divine buyer coming, hang in there. So I did that energy work. The next day, I took myself out and about, and I thought, I don't know, let me find a little estate sale or something where maybe there's some little thing that I could put in this house that will let the house know that it's completely loved and it's ready to go to the next owner. Well, what to my wondering eyes should appear at the very first sale were two cherubs, fairly good-sized cherubs. I'll say 18 inches, 12 to 18 inches, each one of these beautiful little things. And yes, they had been someone's outside cherubs, took them back in, gave them a bath, and put the cherubs out, found another little thing for $5, put that in the kitchen, found another little thing for $6, put that somewhere else. And we're talking a 5,000 square foot home, so that doesn't go very far. But the energy was changed. So, okay, I did my bit, and I'm on my way, and now the person comes back from their little holiday and says to me, I'm sure you didn't, she actually said, I'm sure you didn't have time to go over there. And I said, I'm sure I did. I promised you I would. And I do want to reiterate to all of you, If you've promised something to someone, you must learn to keep your promises. If you're going to meet someone at 2 o'clock, meet them at 2 o'clock. If you're going to go into the home, she wouldn't have known whether I was there or not, but I was there. So why would I ask you to do this? It actually builds up your infrastructure once again, which has seriously diminished on this planet. So it's just to help you build up yourself, your spiritual bodies. So, okay, I said, yep, I did go in, and, I'm a happy little camper. I spent probably all of $30 on this whole big deal. And she became very resistant. We can't afford to have the inside staged. What did you do that for? Really, it's the outside that needs help. And, she was particularly unhappy. I'm like, oh, okay. Trust me on this one. I simply allowed her to be in her space. And I went on with my life. However, so this was the weekend, and today we're on Tuesday. She called this morning. She went into that house. Honestly, if she could have cried, she's forgotten how to cry. It's one of those people. If she could have cried, she would have. But she certainly was thankful because she could feel the changes. And she said, Elaine, you've given me hope again. There's no greater healing. I could have put those cherubs on the rooftop that nobody even saw. That's what it's all about now for each of us. Let's give each other hope. The world has become hopeless, completely hopeless. Oddly, that is the one word that has aligned me with this beamer energy, because the gentleman who shared his experiences with me mentioned the word hopeless. In his life, he was hopeless. He was at the end of the healing line. There was no further help for him. And he choked up when he said that. And I felt his emotion and his pain. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty remarkable. After that training, I came home on my text thing, which I'm barely associated with, but there's a message from a woman in the Northeast saying, I've been in bed for a year, and I'm hopeless. You are my last hope to talk to. I called her immediately. I know her. Not obviously, she doesn't know me well enough that after a year's time, it took her a year to call me. She knows me well enough. I've been in their home a few times, helped her get pregnant by feng shui. And so it was very interesting. I called and said, what's the matter here? And she said, I'm hopeless. There's nothing further. And she has 4 young children. That word hopeless is what propelled me out of South Florida up to the Northeast. I was so moved by it. And I kind of think she was the spokesperson for a lot of what I'm seeing here. There is a sense of hopelessness. So very interesting, but your resistance, and I'm talking to each one of you, each and every person listening to this, you must examine your resistances. In some, they're glaringly obvious. No, don't move that sofa 3 inches to the left. Okay, fine. That's an obvious resistance. But for many of you, they're very subtle, but they are undermining you. If you resist something, it's going to persist, and it's going to make you sick. So, a lot about resistance that I'm seeing here. A lot of helpers are here for you now. A lot of physical tools, a lot of people tools, and one of my favorite people tools is right here with me. And I'm going to give her a little introduction before I even let her say hello. But this is Ardith Walker. Ardith has been connected to me since Purple Pear 1, I would say.
Yes, absolutely. When you first began, yes.
Okay, and Ardith has been a cheerleader, a supporter, a friend.
A pair employee, even.
Yes.
Part-time pair employee.
Part-time Purple Pear employee. and I've watched Ardith evolve and morph and become more of who she is. And that's been so interesting because you got to give the old elevator speech about who we are. Well, her elevator speech was something like, I teach social studies to the 5th and 7th graders in Ramsey, New Jersey. That would have been it, right? Okay, that's what I've done in life. Except that once Ardith put that down, even as you were putting it down, as I remember, her real training began, is what I would say. And the real training has moved Ardith toward further and further expansion for herself and for others. Because what Ardith has become, I say an angel reader, but really an angel translator, interpreter, message bringer from the angel kingdom. Now, some of you can say, bah, humbug on angels. Have a good time. This show is not for you. Because I've seen them in Living Technicolor, and I know you have too. So they're just a different kingdom. But because we're so densified here, we can't see them any longer. Children can see them, and animals can see them, which is why children and animals like the beamer. They can't see the energy, but they can feel it. So Ardith does angel consultations all over the world. So you need to reach out to her at times. She does this long distance. If you're in the Northeast area, you're going to find her. But now I'm going to say, Ardith, you get to say hello and give some information about phone numbers and things, because it's important.
All right. Hello, I am Ardith. My name is Ardith Walker. And Elaine has played a key part in my life. I am so delighted to be here today. I am always delighted to be in Elaine's presence. And she certainly has been a mentor and just a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful being in my life. As Elaine said, I used to be a teacher. And now I really am teaching people, connecting people with the angelic realm, which is a beautiful, wonderful, wonderful thing. And really, I feel it is my mission to empower people by connecting them with these wonderful, beautiful beings who would love to collaborate with us. They're not here to fix us. They're not here to do our work for us, but they are certainly here to help us have a life of peace and hope and joy, and work with us to achieve that for ourselves. They also, I am blessed by them allowing me to let you know the name of your personal guardian angel. And our guardian is with us since birth. And I have no idea what anyone's guardian angel's name is, but if I'm working with someone, they will at that point share that person's guardian angel name. Not that we have to know the name of our guardian angel. They are there with us anyway. But it is nice to know. I work with people personally. I live in Morris Township, New Jersey, if you live in that area. Otherwise, yes, I can also work with people over the phone.
And your phone number?
And my phone number is, my cell phone number is 201-316-5101. That's 201-316-5101. And that's how you could get in touch with me. But it's just been a wonderful, wonderful journey, connecting with these angelic beings and working with them and seeing the difference they can make in other people's lives.
Ardith, could you give us a little... Well, first I have to tell you, I'm sitting across from a being that if I didn't know she was a human being, she's so ethereal, she actually has become to look like an angel. It's a remarkable thing. This is a being where her skin is transparent. She's transparent. And, transparency means she's authentic. She's truthful. So there's no malarkey here. trust me, if there were malarkey, she wouldn't be on my radio show. I got that news for you. But it's very, to me, especially on a day like today, I've been working very hard up here to feel someone's presence that is so light. It lifts me up, and that's what artists' work does. So, artists, could you maybe recall something that occurred for someone in one of your consultations that could maybe lift or help someone today?
Just recently, I don't know if this will be of help for a specific person today. I just recently saw a woman about 2 weeks ago, and years ago, she and her husband, I used to do angel readings at a bookstore. I had a room in a bookstore, and the two of them had come, and you don't frequently in this kind of work, usually you see more women than men, but this was a couple who came together, which sometimes they would, and the man came into the room first, which usually the woman would be there, and the men would have maybe come along. But this man came in, and he was just a lovely man and very, very open and just lovely, lovely person. And he and his wife had known each other since childhood. And he happened to say to me, I fell in love with her in the 3rd grade, which was such a beautiful thing. And that was maybe around 7 years ago. And then about 1.5 years ago, I received a phone call, and these people did not live, they weren't that close. They were in the vicinity, but probably about an hour away. And got a phone call, and the woman told me that her husband had become ill. And they had found my phone number, and she said she loved seeing you, and he loves angels, and he really would like to come and, where are you? He would like to come and see you. And they came to my home, and, he was not in good physical shape, but he felt so good when he left there. And she called me about 3 weeks ago to let me know that he had passed away. And she said, I really, I don't know if I need a reading or whatever, but I would like to see you. And I said, you don't need a reading, but you need comfort, so just come. And she came over with her sister, and it was just so interesting. One of the comments, she said, I told him last night, we're going to see artists tomorrow. And in my room where I do my readings, it's a meditation room for me, and I have a reclining chair in the corner, and over that is a huge picture that someone had given me years ago. And it's a picture, not that it matters what religion we are, certainly, but this is a picture, and I forget the name of it. It's called The Road to somewhere, but it's Jesus and 2 disciples, and it's when Jesus has arisen, and he's talking to these 2 disciples. And so she came in the room with her sister, and they sat down, and I left the room for a moment to get some water or something, and I came back, and she said, I just have a confirmation already. She said, someone sent me a mass card, and inside they enclosed a photo, and it's the painting you have on the wall. Mm. And she said, I have that propped up alongside his picture at home. And she texted me the picture the next day of her husband, and there was that exact.
How beautiful
is that? So she said there's a confirmation already.
Okay.
And it was really, it was just a lovely, lovely thing. To know that, and to know that we are still connected, and the angels help us, with that too. That we still have a connection with those on the other side also.
Yeah. Yep. And I'm not sure anymore even what the heck the other side is. Mm-hmm. I think we're in the other side.
Right, yes.
We just can't see it.
That veil is so thin.
Yes, it's so thin now.
It's just these terms that we use.
Yes. So. Yep, it's the terminology. But as Ardith is pointing out, it's a point of comfort. Mm-hmm. And heavenly days we need comfort. I have to share a little story that Ardith told me when she came in here that I thought, oh, come on, America. Could you just hear this story and get back to the graciousness of it? on this past Sunday, I had my first talk up here in New Jersey since my return, and it was really to teach about prosperity and all prosperities, as well as the prosperity of good health. So I introduced everybody to the Beamer, and Ardith was so gracious. And I don't think you're really a cook. I have never considered you a cook.
No, just sporadically, and more baking than whatever. But no, I am not.
Okay.
No.
So when she tried,
my main interest in food is eating it.
Okay, I thought that's what was true about her. But mind you, she's pencil thin and lovely, so she's not eating that much of it. So she comes in with an apple crisp that looks absolutely heavenly to feed all these dear people that had come to my talk. And so at the end, everybody's taking back what they brought, and there's a little bit left, so she brings it back, and where she's staying in a magical, she's a conjurer. She conjured up a carriage house. Now, in the pocket of New Jersey where she lives, I have to tell you, this is like Alice in Wonderland. And it's beautiful. It's park-like. I've been there. You want to whisper. But it just so happened that folks that own this magical place live in, of course, the manor house in front of this beautiful cottage. And I gather they were there for the weekend.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they're not always there, but they weren't.
Yeah. So, you see, here's where Ardith and I differ. Ardith decided she would share the remains of this lovely apple crisp. I would have been thinking, oh, there's some left. I will stuff that thing down without any problem. So at any rate, the exchange was made, and she gave the offering, and apparently they were so enchanted by this apple crisp arriving on their doorstep. And so the next day or so, Ardith hears a knock on her door. The owner of the manor house,
the teenage son,
okay, comes with baking dish, immaculate, cleaned within an inch of its life, with a thank you note, probably handwritten.
Absolutely.
And a bouquet of sunflowers. Now, I wouldn't even say to that. I was raised that way, that you don't give a dish back without something in it, some little token of gratitude. In our day and age, here where we are, you're lucky you ever see your dish again, number one. The idea of a thank you note is, who has time to write a thank you note? And then to have the love of awareness and expression, to put a flower? Are you kidding me? And, I loved her story. And I think I did wake up a little sad today, because I loved the story, and then I felt, yet again, very sad for us here. Like, what's happened, that we can't stop running to write a little note. It didn't have to be a flower. It could have been a Tootsie Roll. Do something. Go in your cupboard and stick something on it. I don't know. And unfortunately, none of you can call in today because I'm remote, so I get to blab the whole time. And if you could be bursting at the seams to say something, hold it for a second. Either that or call me off the air. But what was your sense when they returned the dish that way?
I was very surprised. Oh my gosh, my goodness, he has flowers in his hand, and he said, "Oh, thank you so much. I'm sorry that I'm knocking on the door so late. It was about 8:00 at night." And I said, "Oh my goodness," I said, "This is absolutely lovely." I said, "You didn't have to do this."
Now, I will say,
it was delicious. I said, "Thank you so much. This really touches my heart. This is totally unexpected." And it wasn't as if I had even baked the crisp especially for them.
Yeah. I mean, look at this. Now, I will say they are not from America.
No, they are They are German.
And isn't that a dreadful mandate about where we have fallen to? That we are careless, thoughtless, and reckless with one another's, with our gratitude. So, very interesting. It's so simple, that you think, oh, there's nothing to learn from that little experience. There's everything to learn. Yeah, it's called grace and graciousness. Yep. Well, at any rate, I will talk a little teeny bit since you've mentioned Germany. My great new healing modality tool is also out of Germany, and it is called this Beamer. No joke, I think now there have been close to 40 people on and off this modality since I got here. And it's simple, it's painless, you don't strip down, I do tell people, just out of courtesy for the equipment, please take your shoes off. I do tell them that. And I personally like to be on equipment without my watch on or things that just, I don't know. A couple of people had a medal on, like an angel or a sacred something, and that is very acceptable because it will actually clear out the metal energy, that anything, if it's collected any negativity. So I've seen some interesting occurrences on this thing, as a person would have a session, and a session is a whopping 8 minutes. And Ardith saw 20 people on Sunday have sessions, and between the two of us, it was everything from, gee, I can move my shoulder and it's been frozen.
It was fascinating.
That was our Pamela. One gal had, I know over the years she's had 2 frozen shoulders, and a lot of therapy. So there's a residual pain, and I know she was trying to be very brave, and I don't feel anything, and half the time you don't feel anything, but she got up off the equipment and experienced a great sense of relief. So that was interesting. And the other was, some were certainly more dramatic than others, because you don't know what you're experiencing and you don't know how to interpret it. But one gal hobbled in on crutches. She had been in a lovely falling accident, and so her foot was kaflunked and her hand had been kaflunked. And the hand was all bound up in an ace bandage, and so she went on it and, comes off. And when you're that injured, you don't even know what to expect. And so she kind of got off and like, okay, thank you very much. Well, halfway through my talk, I decided out of the clear blue to ask her if she would like to just go back on that thing and let's just simply wind it around her hand and see if she has any sensation whatsoever. Back she goes, and starting to take the ace bandage off, and I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. The energy will reach you through the bandage. And she's like, nope, I want it off. Incidentally, the people that are experiencing this, these are not people without an education, without a solid basis of good earning ability. These are very strong individuals as far as what they've accomplished. And she has been a district of attorney somewhere, and now she has her own law firm. So you've got that sort of scientific mind that's going to make a good judgment call about this. She's on this thing for 8 minutes, goes back to her seat, sits down, and I'm now giving the talk to the group. All of a sudden, she's kind of got this arm that wasn't working so well, raising up in the air with a pen, swinging it around, moving the wrist, which was not so much moving, and says, I can hold the pen and write. This is pretty interesting to me. And there we have it.
Yeah, she said there's she had said there's still a bit of pain there, but she said it was excruciating this morning. I thought I was going to have to go get a shot in my hand. It was so bad.
So, again, I can say that but this is tied in with artists receiving a lovely little flower and a thank you note from Germany. So I think, we've got to take note from cultures that are perhaps still in touch with fine creativity. Now, that's not to say we're not creative here, but our creativity now, just saying, just watching, is very much tied in with stress. The stress level is off the charts, and people are working long, long hours with little vacation. And this is not done in other cultures. They will take time to restore and regenerate and, move back into balance if they feel they've lost it. So it's kind of too bad nobody can say, hey, what are you girls up to over there? But nonetheless, I hope you're getting something from this. Artist, is there anything else at this moment you would like to add about your work with the angels?
Again, it's, as Elaine was just saying, everyone just seems to be so distracted, going in so many different directions, and especially with today's technology. There's so much more. Certainly when back in ancient times, when the sun came up, we got up. When the sun went down, we went to bed. And there was quiet around us, and it was so much easier, to connect with the divine, to connect with nature. But those are things that if we want to have that inner peace and that fulfillment, we need to we really need to get back to that in what way we can. Certainly, we have different parameters nowadays, but just to give ourselves a few minutes. Mm-hmm. And that's really when we can connect with the divine, and they are there. Angelic beings are there. They are with us anyway, and they would love us to connect with them. We have free will, and they can only do so much unless we take the time to ask them. But when we are constantly so busy and constantly so pressured and constantly looking at our phones and whatever, we don't really give ourselves that time to breathe and even to have that thought. Mm-hmm. But it makes such a difference in our lives, because really it's up to us to help fulfill ourselves on the inside, and all those things in the outside world cannot.
They cannot. Anything outside of us is not going to be the healing agent it's coming from inside. Mm-hmm. So, and that's where we've got to go back into the inside.
Mm-hmm. And to just give ourselves that space to, connect, to talk with the angels, to connect with them. And it can really be anytime, any place. It doesn't have to be in a certain room, any certain posture. They are open. They are just really open to, they just really want to love us and assist us and help us to evolve spiritually, because that's really why we are here on planet Earth.
Well said. That's the only reason we're here.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And it's true, as Ardith is saying, you don't need a special room. You don't need to be in a lotus position. You don't need to have done anything other than ask. Mm-hmm. And they're not connected with any religion. Not one whatsoever.
No.
So they kind of permeate all levels of life. And, in this day and age, from what I can clearly see up here, we need all the comfort and good counsel that we can possibly tune into. So once again, I'm going to give Ardith's cell phone. Her name is Ardith, Ardith. That's an old world number.
It's a Welsh name.
Okay.
That means field of flowers. It's also an early form of the name Edith.
Okay. She looks like a flower. I mean, the name is so suitable to her. I keep looking at her lovely face and thinking somewhere in England or near a lovely field and with a different time. She comes from a different time zone. And I don't know how you've adjusted to this world, this time zone. Because it has to be hard for you.
Come along on my journey. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I would like to mention one of my favorite books that I came across when I used to work at the bookstore is a book called Angels in My Hair. And the author is a woman named Lorna Byrne, Byrne, and it's a memoir. And Lorna Byrne is a woman who grew up in the 1950s in Dublin, Ireland, in poverty, to a large Catholic family, and she saw angels since birth. And in fact, I believe the first sentence in the book is, when I was 2 years old, the doctor told my mother he thought I was retarded, which was a word used back then. And that was because she was always distracted, because she was seeing these angelic beings around her, so she was looking in different directions. She was never really focused and constantly communicated. And when she was a little bit older and had enough consciousness to understand, the angel said to her, don't let anybody know, because back in those days they could have put her away thinking she was off balance or whatever. And she really was not shunned by her family, but treated as different. And she really was raised a lot by the angels. And she's a lovely, lovely woman. And I did get to see her. She comes to New York occasionally. And someone I had done a reading for, maybe about 4 years ago, had called me one day and said, you know, I had bought that book that you recommended, but I never read it. But I just didn't. It was fascinating. And she's going to be in New York in a couple of weeks. Would you like to go with me? And I did. And there were probably, it wasn't a Hyatt hotel in New York, there were probably about 200-300 people in the audience. And there were people, just going back to what Elaine just said about angels and how, you know, they're not any particular, anything like that, religion or whatever. In the audience, there were people of all different ages, all different colors, all different religions. There was a Muslim cleric and a group of people with him. There were all kinds of groups of people. And she's this little humble Irish lady. She's not a packaged person at all. And she came in, and there was a radio personality who I did not know, who was there for the first part of it to just, you know, prompt her with questions if need be, which there really wasn't. And then she took questions from the audience. And the very last one was from a little girl all the way in the back. And she just and this little girl was crying. And I think her uncle had just passed on, and she was asking about her uncle. And Lorna just kind of motioned her up to the front, and this little girl with her little braids and little glasses, about 8 years old, went up there. And it was beautiful because Lorna now was sitting on the edge of the platform and just took this little girl in her arms and cradled her, and they had a whispered conversation because it really was no one else's business. But in Lorna's book, she talks about being about 8 years old in Ireland, where they had their Protestant Catholic problems back then, and that one day she was walking down the sidewalk with her aunt, and there was a Protestant church across the street, and she looked over because she saw angels in front of it, and her aunt said, don't look at that, and don't look at that church, and remember, you don't ever go in there, that's bad, whatever. And she said, if you could see how many angels there are in front of every church, synagogue, mosque, they are all there, and they are all filled on the inside. And she also said that when she comes to America, when she sets foot on our soil, it feels different under her feet than any other country she's ever been in. And it's because of the melting pot that's here. It's because of all the different energies that have been brought here by all the different groups of people.
Interesting. Could you give the name of that book once again?
That book is called Angels in My Hair. And it's a memoir by Lorna, Lorna, Byrne, Byrne.
I remember, I think you actually sent me a copy of that book.
I did, yes, I did.
And I was enchanted with the book. And then I remember, I don't know, she either came to the United States, was on some show, a television show, and they crucified her.
Really?
They just tore her apart. I couldn't even watch
My
it.
goodness, I'm glad I didn't see it.
Yep. You know, it's a funny thing. People are sometimes out to disprove
Right.
anything.
Exactly.
Anything. And I was so heartbroken for her because nobody deserves that.
Yeah, she's not a celebrity. She never wanted to be.
No.
She's not a packaged person. She really didn't even start working with people, you know, helping
I
whatever.
remember that.
So they started coming to her cottage when she was probably 40 years old.
Yep.
So she's not.
Yeah, there's nothing.
She's not looking to gain anything
No.
from this.
No.
Not
And
at
it
all.
was such an atrocity. What are we doing?
Mm-hmm.
Where is our respect for one another? Mm-hmm. Where is our graciousness?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it's a wonderful book for those of you who are looking. Now, artists, have we reached 50 minutes? Because I'm not sure.
It's 3:51 on the clock I'm looking at.
Okay, so now we're supposed to be paying attention for Jeff, and we were supposed to set the timer. That didn't happen, Jeff. So I think we're kind of getting close.
Probably have about 4 minutes.
Okay, we think we have 4 minutes, Jeff. Here's the deal. If we don't have 4 minutes, then Jeff is going to just be playing music right on top of us. So we're going to keep talking for a little bit. But I do want to make sure you have 2 phone numbers here. One is for artists if you need an angel, I don't even know what it's called, an angel communique or something like that. It's delicate, it's lovely, it's meaningful. So here's artists' contact information, 201-316-5101. Once again, 201-316-5101. If you need to reach me for the next several weeks, excuse me, or want to come still to some of my lectures and talks, excuse me, I'm having a good time here. While I'm in Jersey, because I'll be giving talks on next Friday the 8th, Saturday the 9th. I'm also going up to Tashi and Tashi's lovely new healing center, Tara, up in Valley Cottage. Actually, that's this Thursday. So if you want any information, you want to talk to me, you want to say something nice so I can stay very cheerful and centered up here, that'd be lovely. 321-210-6582. So once again, 321-210-6582. And be patient while I get back to you, because when I'm doing nothing else, I'm beaming up half of New Jersey, beaming them up. Artist had her second beam up today. Mm-hmm. So just give a second of what happened on your beam up, if anything.
Both of my beam ups, especially the one, I just felt very, very relaxed. A little bit of a tingling around my heart center. I sometimes will see, colors around me. So I saw my apple green and my violets and whatever, my little kaleidoscope kind of in my eyes. I didn't feel any particular. I had my sensation driving here to let me know about the beamer.
Mm-hmm,
but yes,
mm-hmm.
yes.
Yeah, okay. Artist is, I have to say, give credit where credit is due. She glows. She actually glows. So I'm not sure what adjustment could be made, although I see sometimes it goes backward, almost like homeopathy, and it adjusts things that you've maybe long since forgotten about that just need to be a little tweaked.
My circulation, I'm sure, would be helped by this, absolutely.
Yeah.
And, oh, yes.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And raising our frequency,
yeah.
Whatever. It's certainly, there's a lot of subtle things that go on within our body that,
Yeah.
we don't think about. We don't have to have a particular pain or a particular ache.
We're going now. We're leaving you. It's been delightful. See you soon. See you next week from New Jersey. Goodbye. Thank you, Arthur. Thank you so much.